Hello, and welcome to another Scottish mountain walking guide. For today's episode, I've returned to Glencoe to climb Beinn a Chrùlaiste. Beinn a Chrùlaiste is a Corbett, a Scottish mountain between 2,500 feet and 3,000 feet. It sits directly northeast of Stobjerrig, offering magnificent views of the Buckle. For this walk, I'm going to do a full circuit up and over the summit, descending towards the King's House Hotel and returning along the West Highland Way. You can also climb and descend Beinn a Chrùlaiste directly from the same car park that you use for the Buckle. Parking is at the side of the A82, parking is free, there are no height restrictions. The lay-by that I use for this walk fits around 4 cars, and it's not used for the Buckle, so it's usually quite empty. The main Buckle car park can be very busy, and the roadside lay-by was full when I passed it around 8 AM. It's around 2 hours drive from Glasgow and 2.5 hours drive from Edinburgh. And as always, links to the OS map for both routes, the starting point car park locations and the Scottish Mountain Weather website are included in the description below. The total distance for today's walk is 11 kilometres with 680 metres of ascent. It's expected to take around 4 hours without the snow. The route is fairly easy to navigate and there are no scrambling or tricky sections to traverse. Starting from the parking lay-by, you head east along the unnamed road here, which joins up to the West Highland Way. You'll come to a large post on the right hand side of the road and a smaller signpost for the West Highland Way. You're looking at the back of the signpost coming from this direction. There's a gate and you cross through the gate and then follow the path, so doubling back on your left. You're ascending slightly, a little bit of a rocky path, but easy enough to follow. Follow the path as it descends slightly and it gets closer to the main road, although it never actually joins the main road. There's always a fence between you and the road. At some point around about here, you'll go through a gate, continuing on the path, and then you're going to come to another set of gates. Before the gates, you turn off to your right and leave the West Highland Way and join the path that goes up for this hill walk. You'll follow that around, it'll join the fence here, and as it joins the fence, it bends to the right. And you'll follow the fence up to the right, it bends again to the right, and you follow the fence again, a little bit further away from the fence at this point. And then as the fence bends away to the left, you're going to leave and walk directly to your right, 90-degree angle to the fence at this point, and start rising up. It's not too steep. Continue to follow that path. The 3D map makes this look a lot steeper than it actually was. It wasn't difficult. You'll continue to make your way up to a small little lock-in at this point, past that on your right hand side, and you're keeping to the right at this point, crags and steep drops on your right hand side. I never noticed the second lock-in here, it may have been covered in snow at that point. You'll be able to see the path and it kind of fades away and you'll see a small summit and there's a little cairn at 639 metres here. So you want to turn to your left and make your way towards that cairn. You may be tempted to go straight ahead here, and the steepness of the terrain isn't bad, but there's a large boggy section which isn't really shown here where this stream is, so you want to keep to your left and then cross over the stream at the end. There is a reasonably well made path here that you can follow up. It was covered in snow, so we weren't keeping on the path, but generally keeping to this side, the left hand side as you're coming up here. When you get closer to the summit, there are no crags, there's nothing to climb up here, and then you just turn a little bit to your right. There's a circular trig point, and then just beyond that, a summit cairn. The easier walk is just to retrace your steps and descend back down the way you went up. For this walk, I wanted to make it a circular route, so you continue in a southeasterly direction, down a broad slope, keeping the steep drop on your left hand side, and just make your way down here. None of this was difficult, it's slightly steep, but nothing challenging. You continue to make your way down. There are little bits of crags, very small, and you can just make your way through them as you're making your way down. And when you get closer to the end here, these crags seemed a bit larger. I never went right up to the edge. I kind of curved round. I think in the actual video, I went down through this bit. I cut the corner a little bit. I was following other footsteps in the snow, and it wasn't difficult. You're aiming for this river that you can see to the east of you. And just before the river, there is an ATV 4x4 type track going through the heather. Turn to your right once you join that track. Very easy walk out. It is a rather wet and soggy section of the path, all this bit down here. Fortunately, because of the snow and ice, it was fairly solid and firm underfoot, but in the summertime, this could be very wet and just unpleasant to walk along. Continue to make your way down that track until you join the road next to a bridge. Turn to your right and then just follow that road all the way back out to the lay-by. Good morning, it's 8:15. There are 2 possible parking areas for this walk. The main one being the same car park as the Buckle up ahead there. That was full, the lay-by was full anyway. And as the mountain I'm climbing today is on the right hand side of the road, it's a circular route. Parking this lay-by, it's just near the junction where you turn to go down Glencoe. I was originally going to park over there, but that's only a 30-minute parking area. To start the walk today, I'm going to head south, cross over the road and go down there on the left, heading towards King's House. And then I'm going to join the West Highland Way and actually double back on myself and walk all the way along underneath the mountain back to the main car park for the Buckle. I've crossed over the main road, heading down here, down the left track. It's a dead end, but it lets you join up to the West Highland Way. There's the road that goes down to Glencoe. It's a little bit windy, meant to be up to about 20 miles per hour. With the wind chill, about -10 to -15 degrees. Lowest temperature I saw on the drive up was -4.5. This post on the right hand side marks where the West Highland Way leaves this track ahead and goes up here to the left. It's a nice easy start for the walk. This walk is all about the scenery. The wind's on my back at the moment. The descent down the right hand side will be a little bit into the wind. Estimate it'll take around 3 hours to get to the summit. Bit of summit cloud coming in. North Buttress looks terrifying from here. It's that very steep section next to the Great Gully. Gully's on the right hand side. Only climbed that once. Yeah, that looks quite a challenge. So just ahead and just before the gate there, you turn up to the right. So if you're coming from the main Buckle car park, you turn up to your left after you pass through that gate. Just before these gates, you turn up to the right. Looking at the map, we follow this fence line for about 200 metres. It bends to the right ahead. Keep along the fence line. Eventually then we'll break away from the fence and go up to the right. The fence bends again, and once again we continue to follow up alongside the fence. The path is a little bit over to the right, as you can see by those walkers ahead. And it's when the fence bends off to the left, you just go around that corner a little bit and then you'll head up to the right. If we look across at the Buckle, up the main corrie there, the Beinn at the top of the corrie is roughly the same height as the top of this Corbett. And you can see the closest parking lay-by just at the side of the road down there for this walk. If you're just going to go straight up and back down, then it makes sense to park there. The total walk would be about 3 hours. I'm doing the full circuit, which probably about 4.5 hours. So I've just come up there. The fence now bends off to the left. The path, I think in summertime it would go in just a little bit further, more towards that post and then double back a bit. I can see tracks going up here to the right. Looks like a bit of a path, but we just make our way up now. I'm at just over 500 metres altitude, summit's 850, so 350 metres to go. From the roadside I'm less than halfway up. The roadside's about 250 metres. So a bit to go. Once we get over this first top, it flattens off a bit. We should be able to see the summit. That steep little section, that a little bit icy today, but nothing difficult. Flattens off now. We go a little bit further on, slightly to the right hand side, to the first little top. So after you get to that top, you take quite a strong bend to the left and go along the left hand side. Very cold in the wind. I'm going to bend to the left, and as I mentioned I'm going to head more straight ahead this way. Summit's over there. I see one person up there. I saw something on the ridge line near the top as well. So a few people out doing this route. There's a little cairn here, around 639 metres, little over 200 metres to go to the summit in altitude. You come to this cairn, you want to go to the left, it takes you around this boggy section that you can just see, it's frozen over at the moment. You want to take a left hand turn and then you might be able to make the path out, just going up. You can see a couple of people just up there, and it just keeps following the ridge all the way to the top. I think there's a trig point on the top of this summit, so it'll be easy to tell if we're at the summit. A couple of tents here. This would be a lovely spot in the summer to camp and get some morning video of the Buckle. Looking back, There's still about 600 metres in distance and 100 metres in altitude to the summit. Just going sort of straight ahead here, then it'll curve around gradually to the right. The summit is out of view but straight ahead. At the summit of Beinn a Chrùlaiste. Yeah, it's not perfect visibility. You can see a fair distance. There's a buckle over there. There's a trig point at the top. Over Rannoch Moor. On a clear day you would be able to see Beinn Nevis and all of the Mamors. It's taken just under 3 hours to get to this point. I'm going to stop and have something to eat. Then we'll head on down towards the King House Hotel. The easiest way to get off the mountain is just back the way you came up, and if you parked at the Buckle car park, that's the simplest way to do it. Looking across at the Glencoe ski centre, well actually it's slightly further to the left, and there's the Buckle. It's nice and clear. Absolutely freezing cold. Wind chill is probably -10. My hands are going numb, so I need to get gloves on. The cloud is coming and going. You get an excellent view of the Buckle from here. You can see the trig point and the summit cairn. I mean, they're both about the same height. So from here, keep the Buckle and Glencoe or Rannoch Moor. Well, Rannoch Moor was straight ahead. Keep the Buckle and the Glencoe ski centre on your right hand side, and just make your way down this broad ridge. When it gets nearer the bottom, there's some steep sections. You just head a bit northeast, so bending to your left. Should be straightforward on a nice clear day like today. As you make your way down here, heading east, you're going down towards that stream. You can make out quite clearly. You're eventually going to join that stream and then turn down to the right. I can even see a 4x4 track that's running down the side of the stream. So you're joining that track, takes you right down to the main West Highland Way path next to the King's House Hotel. Once you're on that path, it's the same path I was on this morning. Turn right and back to the car. It's nice, cold, nice and clear. Quite a relatively safe winter walk, especially when you can see where you're going. I can see a large party of people coming up. So you can see how we go straight ahead and then bend round to the right. want to continue straight ahead for about another 300 metres. That group are a wee bit off to the left from where I am. I'm still going to go straight down here a bit and then bend to the left and then straight out to that track. I don't know if it'll be easy to see in the video. There's a steep drop just ahead, maybe about 60 metres away. So, and there are footprints here. Can't be sure I'm on the path, obviously it's snowed over. I'm just zigzagging down here, coming towards that edge, and then we'll go left and out and round the crags that are just ahead. I'm following a couple of sets of footprints coming down here. According to the route I plotted, I'm a little bit south of that route. It was a little bit further ahead over there to the left. But it's not too bad. A little bit icy up ahead. I'll just follow these footprints. They'll take me down to that track, it's not far now. And then off to the right, back down to the hotel. I've made it down to a more defined path here. You can see most people go up a little bit further before turning to the left to go up this way. You can see that group up there. So once you're on this path, you make your way down on the right hand side of that stream. Just follow it all the way down to the main road down there, the West Highland Way. This section of the walk does have a reputation for being quite boggy. The benefit of it being so cold is it's mostly frozen over. Just keep to the edges, shouldn't be any problem. You've always got that view to look at, never gets boring. I've made it down to the road. You can see this bridge here. I'm going to turn to the right and just follow that road all the way back to the main road. If you parked at the Buckle car park, you just follow the West Highland Way up to the right that I did this morning. The parking lay-by I used is just up at the junction ahead, just where that lorry's passing. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Distance was 11 kilometres. Time since I left the car park, just over 4.5 hours. And 670 metres of ascent. It looks smaller than that. Hopefully the weather improves and I can show you more in the next video. Bye for now.